they got the 31st coming as well.
Are you awake?
It is my opinion, personally, that it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if Kent Hughes went out and found a value right-handed right D. So you know what? Everything I said about patience, that still stands. But something that makes the team better and doesn't kill the team, doesn't sell the future, doesn't paint them into a corner, doesn't disallow them from making future trades, maybe over the summer, I'm kind of for it. But what is the likelihood of that happening now? And what else is going on in the league in terms of trades? Let's talk about it.
Back check, forecheck, and paycheck.
So we're officially 24 hours away from NHL deadline, and things are starting to move around the league. Some teams have already made their plays, others are setting up for tomorrow. And from a Montreal Canadiens perspective, this is the time you start asking yourself different questions. What's the rest of the league doing, and how does it affect Montreal? Because as the deadline approaches, you're not just watching your own team and seeing what they do, you're watching how the entire playoff race could be changing. And things are only getting more interesting every day. That's why, if you're not subscribed, maybe consider doing it. The race is on, and we're going to be following the Montreal Canadiens all the way down to the wire. So yeah, join us. For those of you that are already subscribed, you can still help me out. Hit the like button. It does something, I think. We've already seen a handful of moves across the league in the last day or so. One of the more interesting ones involves the Toronto Maple Leafs, who moved Nicolas Roy to Colorado and received a conditional first and fifth round pick. A first round pick. That's notable for a couple of reasons. Initially, they said that this was going to be a buyer's market. And I think maybe initially they thought that because there's going to be a lot of sellers. Problem with that is there's going to be a lot of sellers wanting to sell high and not a lot of teams that really want to bite. But the other reason why this is so interesting is clearly the Leafs are selling off pieces. When a team like the Leafs starts selling, you know there's going to be more to follow. They're just built that way. Even Leafs players acknowledge the uncertainty around the deadline as management tries to figure out where this team is headed, which, if you're a Canadiens fan, isn't exactly the worst thing in the world. And then there are already a bunch of other trades completed around the NHL. As I'm doing this video, there's trades going on. The Ottawa Senators acquired Warren Foegele from Los Angeles for draft picks. And I am reading right now that Ottawa is trading David Perron to Detroit. Oh no. They get a fourth round pick in return. Dallas picked up Michael Bunting, adding some scoring depth there. The Minnesota Wild acquired Jeff Petrie, continuing the veteran shuffle that always seems to happen around deadline. They did need a big defenseman. So what that tells us is teams are loading up for the playoffs. Other teams are collecting futures. And once the first few dominoes fall, the rest of the market tends to accelerate. Obviously, right now, the rumor mill is in full chaos mode. Players like Vinny Trocheck, Ryan O'Reilly, and Dougie Hamilton are all mentioned in deadline chatter, depending on the team situation. And some trades are even falling apart last minute. Colton Parayko was supposed to be on his way to Buffalo, and the trade just collapsed. He declined to waive his no trade clause. Robert Thomas is somebody that is being talked about a lot, but apparently his valuation from his club is extremely high. They want a lot for Robert Thomas. Another rumor that sprung up was that Matthew Knies is also being shopped by Toronto, but honestly, it just feels like deadline chatter, not an actual plan to have him move. Maybe they just want to see how much they can get. GMs tend to float names just to see what the market looks like. It doesn't really mean that the player is available. From Montreal's perspective, the interesting part isn't who's on the market, it's what the market looks like. Montreal is mostly in the phase that they're evaluating their own roster, watching how the league values certain players, and seeing what teams are willing to pay for those players. Sometimes the most valuable information that you get at deadline isn't even from your own trades. It's just watching what other teams are prepared to give up. The NHL trade deadline is at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And historically, the final day is when everything explodes. I kind of think that it's going to be a significant trade deadline tomorrow. It felt like how the change to LTIR changed this season. Maybe trade deadline would be affected more, but I'm not sure if it will. I think we'll see some last minute panic moves. I think we'll see a team paying more than they wanted to, or maybe a team letting somebody go for less than they wanted to. I think we could see someone from Montreal making their way to a different market, and hopefully someone making their way back to the Montreal market. I am personally, like I said at the intro of the video, looking for someone to reinforce the back end. So it might not be as sexy, but I think that if you're a Habs fan, you could ignore Vinny Trocheck, Robert Thomas, Nazem Kadri, O'Reilly, Stamkos. But then who do they target? Who's out there? If you're thinking about defensemen, probably the most sought after, the most desirable defenseman currently on the market is Simon Nemec. Not quite the right fit, although there's definitely a want there. Canadiens fans have wanted Nemec on the team quite a bit in the past. He's friends with Juraj Slafkovsky, and a lot of people feel that he's being undervalued by New Jersey and not used very often. Colton Parayko is back on the market, and although he is a big, lanky fella that plays big minutes and is reliable, he's also 32 years old. And how many years does he have left in his contract? 32 years, 4 years left on an 8-year contract at 6.5. On Toronto, OEL is 34 years old, $3.5 million contract to 2028. That's not going to work either. Justin Falk, 6.5, 33 years old, only a year and a half left. He's on the Blues. Still not exactly the right fit that you're looking for. Rasmus Ristolainen, okay, 31 years old. UFA 2027, $5.1 million. So Montreal sniffed around on him. You know what? I wasn't too hot on that initially when I heard it. I looked at his stats. It's been around for a while. He hasn't had like an excellent year, but he's played on Buffalo and Philadelphia, meaning he's had a difficult go of it over the past, how long has he been in the league? He's played in the league since 2013, 2014. He's definitely missed some time in those years, and that's what probably concerns me the most, because looking at his stats otherwise, he's pulling in big minutes. He was a trusted guy on teams that, weren't good at the time that he was playing on them. You think maybe this guy deserves a chance at some postseason games. So I thought that, yeah, he could be a guy, and the rumors that Montreal has kind of kicked the tires and then walked away, that could just be a tactic. The other guy is Zach Whitecloud, right shot defenseman, contract till 2028, 2.75 cap hit, and he's 29 years old. A lot more in the timeline for the Canadiens. Now the Flames would need to be blown away for a offer on Whitecloud because they've already shipped off Mackenzie Weegar to Utah. So something that could work is maybe sending a defenseman back. That is where you start to sweat for guys like Arber Xhekaj. But if you look at Whitecloud, if you know anything about him, he's putting up double the amount of time that Arber Xhekaj is on Stanley Cup winning teams. So you file this one under just business. Or do you? Arber Xhekaj is a very well-liked player on the team, not just from fans, but internally as well. It would be a very unpopular decision. Someone said it earlier today, it wouldn't be so bad to get Jonathan Kovacevic back. He's coming back from a knee injury, though, and we already have a guy, I think, that has problems with his knees. Luke Schenn apparently is available. He would be at my absolute bottom of the list for a right shot D. Regardless, he's out there. He's 36 years old. And I think those are the guys that I want to talk about. Now, could we be surprised tomorrow? I think it's possible. There's a lot of talk about goaltender trades in Montreal, and I don't think it's reasonable. Bringing in a goaltender at this part of the season, it doesn't work out a lot of the times. Although I thought it would be absolutely hilarious to bring Jake Allen back. He does have an insanely team-friendly contract number, but it goes on forever until he's 39 years old. But the talk about Binnington and Bobrovsky, man, I cannot see it. But we'll just have to wait for Kent Hughes to wake up, answer his phone, take it off airplane mode or whatever happened, and see if we can get some more interesting and reliable sources for rumor mill stuff. We're going to find out sooner than later. Tomorrow's the deadline. It's also a big game tomorrow. Montreal's got to win, man. Their opponents are winning. They are not winning. They need to start winning. The Sabres have beaten the Penguins tonight. The Blue Jackets have beaten the Florida Panthers tonight. Boston, thankfully, is losing against the Predators, but Columbus is only 3 points back of Montreal. Boston is 2 points behind in the second wildcard spot. Nothing's set in stone. And with that, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you thought this was interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think, what your trade targets would be. But you guys take care of yourself. I didn't tell you, I ordered some glasses. You're going to see me wearing glasses in these videos because I'm supposed to be wearing them in front of the computer screen. I was reading a book to my son the other night and everything was blurry. It wasn't like that before. It was like happened overnight. That's the way she goes, I guess. Anyway, you guys know what to do. Hit the like button, helps me out with search optimization. I don't know. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you. And as always, I will see you down in the comments.